It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, and it's WCCS, AM 1160 and FM 101.1. There are many, many things that signify the holidays are here. One of those things is people start thinking about their trains again, even though train guys, they're with their trains all year long. It doesn't take just the holidays. The Indiana Train Collectors Group has a very special holiday season lined up for you, and Art Dilg and Tom Ott with us here this morning. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning,
Good morning to you. Thank you for having us.
It's good to have you in the studio with us because we all love trains. Everybody loves trains since we were kids.
Well, we do.
You do, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if the tradition remains alive with today's generation, but in our generation, the model train at Christmas time, it always came out. And in my house, it rarely got put back away because, with all those kids around, there were 7 of us. We just love playing with the trains.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what we hope to recreate, is to get families to stop by and reinvent the enthusiasm of model train collecting with their youngsters.
So the display is going to be set up where?
At the Indiana Mall, at the former FYE radio store across from Hallmark. Mm-hmm. And it'll begin this Friday, and we're excited to have it kick off along with the Lucy Donnelly Holiday Festival and Parade downtown. We'll be there from 3 to 7, and then everybody can go to the parade.
There you go. That's a great plan. And it will be there then Friday, and for how long through the season?
Okay, we're going to run for 4 weekends. Friday from 3 to 7, and then Saturday morning when the mall opens at 10 till 6. And then on Sundays, it'll be 2 to 5. And that will run for 4 weekends in a row through December 10th.
Wonderful. So what is it about trains that so attracts you? And I'm guessing it's not something recent. It's something that goes all the way back to your childhood.
With me, it began at age 5. We grew up in New York City in a 4-room apartment, and my father bravely brought up a 4x8 sheet of plywood, put it in the living room, and covered it with artificial grass. Run 2 circles around the top of the table, 1 circle for me and 1 for my brother. So it's been in my blood ever since, and all the way through elementary school and junior high school. And then I kind of put it aside in my adult life, and then when I retired from parish ministry, I used to serve the church right across the street here. I decided I wanted to pick up an old hobby, so I picked up model railroad collecting, and I built a model railroad in the basement of my house on Washington Street.
No, there you go. And this all begin to make the connection because the model train display used to be in the church across the street.
It used to be there in the basement. Yeah, it was what we call an HO gauge layout, which is the smaller gauge. Mm-hmm. It had been there for a number of years, close to 30 years or so. And one of the memories I have of that layout is when we would have open house once a year around the Christmas season, and droves of people would come down for that to see the open house layout at the basement of Christ Episcopal Church. And so, in a sense, this is what we're trying to pick up at the mall, to capture this interest and to invite people in. And we had a wonderful experience last year at the university with the attendance, broke all attendance records at the museum at IUP when we had the model railroad layout there.
I remember. That was very special. And over here across the street, when that was set up there, it was so, intimate when you were down looking.
It was tight quarters.
You could get really up close and personal with the trains then. Yeah. This space here, I would assume, allows you a little bit more flexibility in laying the trains out, Tom?
It does, Todd. We worked with Sherry Renoski and Denise Liggett this year to find a location that we could have, and like you say, expand a little bit. So this room is like 90 by 45 feet, and we have 13 layouts along the circumference of the room with a real large center area where people can come in and take their time and look at the trains. It took us about 6 weeks to set this up. We have a really large window display, about 20 by 10, that depicts scenery here in Indiana with trains coming through our town. One of the things we had a chance to do, since we had a little time this year, is to do some really nice landscaping. Mark and Cindy Stripmatter, 2 of our members, are really good at landscaping, and it really is articulate in what they did. So we have things for the advanced collector, modeler. We also have the kind of things that you would throw together at home for under your tree. We have children's trains. Again, we'd like to make this a family event. Bring your children. We have a Frosty the Snowman train, Thomas the Train. We have push-button interactive layouts where children can make accessories work. So we think it would be a fun time to bring the kids.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things about it is the guy who is in control and driving the trains, when you have a layout like that, a setup like that, that takes some skill, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it does. You have to make sure the train stays on the track.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
Yeah.
We also have a layout that has crossings. Like you say, Todd, you have to have somebody on the throttle because there are 2 times that the trains could collide. And this one gentleman that set up his boyhood train that we have on display, one of the things his 2 sons used to love to do was to have the trains meet at the crossing. So you can see that the trains have a few dings and a little bit of missing paint, but it's a fun thing to do. But we're not going to try that this year, though. We're going to try to avoid the collisions.
That's a good plan.
Most of the layouts over at the mall have built-in fences around the side of the layout, so that it does work both ways. It keeps the trains on the tracks, and it keeps seeking hands away from some of the railroads and some of the engines. Yeah,
because an engine can pinch little fingers, so that's part of why we ask parents to be there with their children and teach them a little bit of the safety aspect of the hobby as well.
Yeah, the little one, especially those for whom this is their first experience with model trains.
Yeah.
You can see their eyes light up and the fascination, and there's this natural inclination to just want to reach out and be a part of it.
Exactly. They want to touch it in reality. That's why we have push buttons they can touch.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll work fine.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
I also wanted to mention that at this year's display, we have a number of beautiful handmade quilts from the Plum Creek Quilters Guild that's lining the walls. So moms and parents that enjoy seeing some nice holiday quilts will also be happy to see those as well.
Yeah, I bet you. So 4 weekends.
4 weekends.
Right.
And I would assume setup continues this week, always getting those last-minute details.
Fine-tuning. We had a preliminary run on Friday night, and one of the engines failed, and one of the transformers got too hot. So we have some adjusting to do, but we're going to be fine with that.
Yeah. When people talk to train guys, you're train guys. When people talk to train guys, you have to be careful the terminology you use, because you can expose yourself as being a real novice right off the bat. I wouldn't guess that you mind that, though, because it just signifies that people are curious about it.
Oh, yeah. We love to see people interest in it, and we love to be able to develop the interest in it. Our goal is to expose the hobby so that children and adults who think they may have an interest or are completely unaware of it may decide, well, this is something I'd like to try. This is something I would like to do. And it's really what I like about model railroading is it's such a wholesome hobby, number one. Number two, it is a way to bring families together and enjoy their time together with a really, really enjoyable hobby.
It is.
I would imagine that 1 or 2 dads or moms even that are going to show up are going to say to themselves, well, I have that train set up in the attic that hasn't been out for years.
Right.
And maybe I'll just dust that off now and let the kids or the grandkids enjoy it.
That would be a fantastic idea. You know, Todd, one question we had last year at the museum, a lot of folks said, well, where can we find parts and things we can add to our layouts? We're in town. So one of the things we're going to do for the last 2 days of our show, the December 9th and 10th, is to have train vendors come in actually to the room and provide trains, have them available for folks to take home if they'd like and buy and purchase, and also some parts for trains. Because a lot of times you'll get an old train out, something won't work, they need advice or parts. At least we can guide some folks to getting their layouts started for the holidays. So we're hoping to offer that as well.
And the layouts themselves can become very, very elaborate. Now, you mentioned the Indiana scenes.
Yes.
Are the Indiana scenes custom made by the members, or are they things that they purchased and adapted? How does that work out?
Well, our layouts are all what I'll call stick built. We built some of them last year and was able to move them in. But this year we constructed this particular layout that's 20 by 10 was actually put together from scratch this year. And the buildings, like the plastic buildings you buy from Mike's Train House or Lionel, pre-assembled, but then the scenery that you put around them is all handmade. So, go ahead.
Styrofoam works well.
Yeah, to do landscaping.
Sure.
Styrofoam builds mountains and valleys, and there's a really exquisite snow scene in that one layout
There is.
with a creative use of styrofoam, and it's a very, very attractive layout.
A pretty deft hand with some spray paint works well, too.
Exactly.
Well, I know that you guys have probably both been doing it for years, so let's ask you first. Art, we'll start with you. Favorite train set and the favorite thing about your train set?
Oh, well, my favorite train set is a set that I received when I was probably 11 or 12 years old, and Lionel Trains came out with what was called the GG1. The GG1 was a model of a Pennsylvania Railroad standard electric locomotive that ran between New York and Washington, D.C. And my dad bought that for us for Christmas Eve, and the first year that the GG1 was established and presented, I got it out of a box after being boxed for many, many years, put it on the track, and it ran immediately. They built them well.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of my favorites.
What about you, Tom?
My favorite train is an American Flyer train with the steam engine and the choo-choo sound. It's a unique sound that American Flyer trains make going around the track. It gets high and low as the speed of the train increases. And again, because it was my favorite train is because it was bought by my dad when I was 2 years old and was too little to even run it. But it survived 8 children.
Wow.
And I have a few pieces of that one, but I bought one similar to it as well to restore. So that's fun. A fun part of the hobby too is restoring something that, or to search for something that you had as a child and get it back on the track, so to speak.
Sure, absolutely. All right, one more time, give the schedule for this Friday and then for the ensuing weeks.
Okay, this Friday we're going to open up 3 to 7, and we'll close for the parade and join downtown. Then on Saturday it's 10 to 6, and on Sunday 2 to 5, and that same schedule will continue for the next 4 weeks.
Beautiful.
Ending on December 10th, yes.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us here today. Talking trains never gets old.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes.
It is the Indiana Model Train. No, what's the official name of the group, Tom? Let me get it right.
Indiana Train Collectors.
Indiana Train Collectors. There you go. It is Indiana in the Morning here on AM 1160 WCCS 101.1 FM. Good morning to you. We're headed toward Fox News at the top of the hour. We will follow that with news from our WCCS newsroom with Josh Widdison. Jack Benedict will be coming by with sports as well. And we have 2 guests coming next hour. We're talking Wonderful Life Festival, too.